Welcome to the Recon Trader. In today's video, I will share with you the best time to set up a grid trading bot via the Bitsgap platform. Now, if you're not familiar with Bitsgap, it is an all-in-one crypto trading platform that offers a variety of different features, including a trading terminal. They have an arbitrage feature. They offer signals. You can do demo trading, so you can actually paper trade before you actually submit your bots or trades to live fire. But in this case today, we will be concentrating on their grid bots and the best time to deploy a grid bot. And in this case today, I will be deploying a grid bot on Bitcoin. Now, if you're curious what type of investment is involved to get started, you can actually get started for free. They offer a 14-day free trial. And if you use the link down in my description below this video, you will actually receive their pro plan with all of its features during the 14-day free trial by using that link in the description down below. Now, once your 14-day free trial does expire, then you can get started with the basic plan for $19 a month, and that will get you 2 active trading bots. If you think you're ready to deploy more than 2 active trading bots, then you might want to step up to the advanced plan, and that will get you 5 active trading bots. Or you could make the leap to the pro plan, and that will actually get you 15 active trading bots live all at the same time. So that's enough jaw jacking. Let's get to actually configuring this grid bot on Bitcoin. Now, if you just joined Bitsgap, you will need to come up to My Exchanges and give that a click, and you will need to click on Add New Exchange, and there you can add your exchange account from a wide variety of different exchanges. And the reason you need to set up an exchange via API keys is you don't actually send money to Bitsgap. Your money actually stays in your exchange account and is as secure as it can be when being held in an exchange account. So after you have added your exchange to Bitsgap, you are now ready to jump over to the Bots tab and start the configuration of a new bot. Now, before we get too far into the weeds, if you're not familiar with how a grid bot operates, a grid bot is basically made up of open limit orders. The green lines you see on the chart are open limit buy orders, and the red lines are open limit sell orders. And when the price action moves down and hits the green lines or the open limit buy orders, the bot is buying at a lower price. And then when that price goes up, it begins hitting the red limit orders and starts selling at a higher price and thus taking profit. And with that all being said, you do need to configure your actual grid's upper and lower limits, and there are actually better times to deploy a bot, and that's what we're going to look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin happens to be at what I would consider a prime time to configure and deploy a bot. Now, before we get too far into the actual configuration of the upper and lower price, we do need to select our strategy. And in this case, I will select the S-Bot strategy, which is a high efficiency bot generating maximized return with the investment limit. And in my experience, I prefer the S-Bot strategy. Now, exchange, you just need to select from one of the exchanges you connected to the platform. In this case, I'll be using Binance US. And then as far as the pair we'll be using today, you can select a variety of pairs that are on your exchange. But today I will be deploying this bot on Bitcoin, which is BTC, and USDT will be my quote currency. And now that we have the strategy, exchange, and pair selected, it is now time to work on our lower price and our upper price for this grid bot. And one of the factors that helps me deploy profitable grid bots is looking at where the price action is currently at in comparison to where I set my upper and my lower price limits. And so if we zoom in on the chart, we can actually see the price action for Bitcoin over the last couple months. And that includes the initial big sell-off for Bitcoin. And since that big sell-off, Bitcoin has basically been trading within a range. And this type of price action makes it a perfect candidate for deploying on a grid bot. Because remember, each time the price goes down, it buys at a lower price. And when the price rips back up, it sells for a profit. And we see multiple dips and rips. So the bot can buy the dip and sell the rip. And we see that multiple times over the last couple months. And I typically am looking for the price action to be in the middle of this range rather than up at, say, the top of the range. Being in the middle of the range gives it room to move down, but at the same time room to move back up. And so for me, I look for support and resistance to set my upper and lower price levels. And so for the lower level, I will drag the lower price level up into around this range, which is going to put us right around 30,000. And that is approximately where Bitcoin originally sold off to. Then it bounced up, chopped along, sold just below down to around 28.8, bounced up, came back down into the 30,000 level, and has chopped along again. And since I'm looking to set my lower price limit along support, I see 30,000 as support. Now I can actually come over to the lower price box and type in 30,000 if I want it to be precise. Now for the upper price, we definitely see 41,000 as resistance. However, since Bitsgap has the trailing up feature built into their grid bots, that feature will allow the grid to move up when the price moves up above your upper price level. So if I drag my upper price level down into, say, this resistance level, call it 36,000, if the price action is able to breach above this level and continue up, the grid will actually follow that price action up, and therefore I'll still be in the action. And that is a feature somewhat unique to Bitsgap, and I always make sure that's enabled on my grid bots for Bitsgap. Now I can come over to the upper limit price box and dial that into, I'm going to put it right at 36.5. And so now I have my lower level set and my upper price level set. Now I'm going to actually drop my lower price level to 29.5. And that will give the price action a little room to maneuver off of that 30,000 support level that Bitcoin seems to be reaching down into. And with that adjustment, we're almost dead center of these grids. Now, again, if the price action moves above this upper price level, the entire grid will follow that price action up. So I'm protected that way. And I do want to mention in the near future, Bitsgap is working on releasing their trailing down features. So you might want to actually shoot the subscribe button so you don't miss out on my video once that feature is released. All right, we have our lower and upper price set. We have trailing up enabled. Now we need to determine our grid spacing and the number of grids themselves. And as you will recall, our grid is made up of open limit orders. The green lines are the buy limit orders and the red lines are the sell limit orders. And the spacing between the grid lines on the way up will be your profit. And in this case, if we start with a 0.57% grid space, each time the price action moves up and hits one of the red lines, we'll profit 0.57%. based on the fact we more than likely bought at a lower price. And on the flip side, if the price moves down, we're buying at a lower price of 0.57% each time the price moves down. And so at that point, we're accumulating Bitcoin for a lower price, which is my objective, is to always be buying Bitcoin when it's at a lower price. And then what will actually affect your grid spacing will be your grid levels. And in this case, if we say bump that to 40 grid levels, we'll see the grid spacing was actually reduced. And I recommend you play around with these settings. Again, this video is not intended as a how to copy my strategy. It's more of a how to set up and what to actually look for when you are deploying a grid bot. Again, we're looking for the price action to be around the middle of our grid. We don't necessarily want it at the top. And we are looking for price action that is actually moving between our upper and lower limits. And so now with my upper and lower limit and my grid spacing and grid level set, I could come over here to the backtest button and give that a click. Now I want to stress that backtest results do not guarantee future results. In addition to, these backtest results can be skewed quite a bit, especially with the grid bot, due to the fact that the price action is constantly moving on a grid bot. You see, we would have deployed this bot according to this backtest back in this area, and the price would have been driven up, and therefore the grid would have moved up. And then as the price came down, because the grid moved up, and because Bitsgap doesn't have the trailing down feature yet, we would have been out of range for trading during a certain period of time, and therefore my results come back pretty low. However, I do need to take into consideration that this bot is out of range during a lot of this back test, so these results will be skewed. In addition to, Bitcoin is not currently as volatile as a lot of the other coins, and I'm willing to take a lower profit margin on Bitcoin than I would say on some of the altcoins. So again, I don't put a lot of weight in the backtest results. I have an idea of how Bitcoin moves as I've been trading Bitcoin, and right now we're pretty much stuck in this range. And in theory, if Bitcoin continues the trend of trading between these levels, that profit percentage should actually be higher. Now, the last two features are take profit, and that would allow you to actually have the bot stop once a certain percentage of profit has been hit. I don't typically use this as I monitor my bots on a daily basis, and I will shut them down whenever I feel they're underperforming. The next option is stop loss, and I always deploy a stop loss. If you don't use a stop loss, that is basically like going into battle without armor. Eventually, you're going to get killed. And I know a lot of traders haven't been using stop losses, and right now they're holding heavy bags, waiting for the crypto market to recover. And in reality, the crypto market, if going by the charts, is looking very bearish, and we could see more movement to the downside. So I highly recommend you use a stop loss. And in this case, I'm going to put my stop loss down around 28,000 as Bitcoin has been able to hold above that level. And so once I enable the feature, I can actually drag the price down, or I can come over to the stop loss box and dial it in to precisely where I want it. And so if the Bitcoin price drops below the 27,000 mark, I want the bot to stop so I can regroup and decide what my next plan of action will be. All right, let's quickly recap. So my strategy is SBOT, the exchange is Binance US, my pair is BTC USDT, my lower price level is 29.5, my upper price limit is 36.5, my grid spacing is just around 0.5% with 40 grid levels, and my price action is currently pretty much in the middle of this grid. I do not have take profit enabled, but I do have the stop loss feature enabled. The last thing I need to do is actually give this bot some ammo, and if I use the slider bar, I can drop this all the way down to 0, and the box will turn red, and it will tell me the minimum amount I need to deploy this bot. And in this case, it's looking for at least 800 USDT, and I will go ahead and give it 900 USDT. Now the bot is ready to be deployed, so we just come down to the start button, give it a click, and now you can see the grid starting to fill in. The bot has started, and so that pretty much wraps it up. If you like this video, do me a favor, spike a like. I will do an update video on how this bot is actually performing profit or loss, so now would be a good time to shoot that subscribe button. If you have any questions or comments, drop those in the comments section down below. I will drop a link to Bitsgap in the description down below so you can take advantage of that 14-day free trial and get that pro plan. And in closing, remember, never send your money into battle without first doing your recon. See you in the next video.